Hey folks, Matt Lange here, and today in this course I'm going to be showing you how to from scratch create a track that's basically in the style of what I've been doing on my most recent record, Dichotomy. In particular, there's a track called Less is More, and it's called Less is More because it was written on a Gibson Les Paul, so LES is more, ha ha ha, funny, I know. Anyway, the whole premise of that track was really like I wanted to take some kind of just like fun, lots of delayed guitar parts, and then turn that into basically what would be kind of like a mellow, progressive house track. So I'm just going to recreate it from scratch. I'm going to do it a little bit differently because I don't want to write the same song all over again. So we're going to write something totally new, but totally also in that style of this guitar-y, progressive house, minimal, I don't know what to call it. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull in a kick drum. It's just going to make my life quite a bit easier. So I'm going to make a track for the kick, and let's just call this kick. Why not? Mono channel. And I'm going to just use this Waves Cosmos browser. I pulled up some of my own samples already, and also because I know the sound of them, like for instance, the Less is More kick is literally in here. And it sounds like that. We could use that one. We could use a similar one. What is Apathia? That's a little dirty. Bucket. Oh, I like Bucket actually. That's sounds like it has the same kind of tail as Less, but a little bit more attack. So you know what? Let's take Bucket. I am just going to put this over here. Let's start at bar 5. We're at 125 beats per minute, arbitrarily. And the one thing I will do always with kicks, at least in like a house record or something electronic, but particularly if it's a house or techno record, I make sure the kicks are never longer than an eighth note because I'm ultimately going to have some kind of like sub bass on that eighth note, and I don't want there to be any clash. Even with EQ, I just don't want there to be anything at all. So I'm going to put that little fade right there and kind of just shape the kick just a little bit. And that's a cattail. And now I'm just going to copy and paste this directly in the audio. I'm going to do a couple bars of it, and just 4x4. It's really, you know, functioning as a click more than actually anything else right now. So let's do that many bars. That's a good enough amount of stuff to start with. And here is the guitar. This time around, whereas I used a Les Paul previously, I thought since we're doing something a little bit differently, I'll use this guitar this time, which it's a PRS Custom 24, the S2 version. So a little bit cheaper than the really expensive ones. We're gonna have to make sure it's in tune, but it's tuned to this, which is it's basically DADGAD, but in C. So it's a C, G, C, G, C, G, G, C, F, G, C. That's what it is. And the other thing I'm going to do, I'm just gonna put a delay on it. It's just gonna make it a little bit more fun. I like having delays in general. And I wanna do something that's gonna be like a Memory Man style delay. So what's a good one for this? Actually, this has a really good one. So this is the McDSP EC300 delay. And analog is their, kind of an analog pedal delay. And they have a setting here, classic, BBD, bucket brigade, which would be like a Memory Man. So that works great for me. And yes, I want a quarter note. And it has a nice ringing out. And there's a nice, like the filtering, a little bit of saturation. I really like Memory Mans for this reason. We can add a little bit of modulation. See, that'd be a lot. But just a bit is nice. And maybe actually for this one, we will do a dotted eighth note, because I think that'll be nice for this kind of like intro stuff. So I should also say the amp, I'm using a Fractal Audio Axe FX only to save CPU. The Neural DSP plugins are fantastic. I use those a lot. The Pliny is probably my favorite clean amp sim. But I have an Axe FX and I love it. So just so you know what I'm running, it's just it's an emulation of a Fender Deluxe Reverb. There's actually a Deluxe Reverb behind me, but a real one. But I'm doing that, and there's a compressor in front of it just to smooth out the tone a bit. And that is that's the whole guitar chain. I'm just going to give this some reverb too, and I'm going to use the Eventide Black Hole, obviously. And let's just take the dry wet down a bit. So now our guitar nice and spacey. I like it a lot. All right, so I'm going to take the mix down, and I'm just going to start recording a couple ideas. I'm just going to loop this. And I'm going to now duplicate this channel, and I'm going to basically double track this. Or not double, but add a new layer. And let's start from, I only need 2 bars, that's fine. Yeah, maybe let's add that chord progression, or we'll go. So we're just gonna do it again. And ultimately, this stuff is going to get looped. So I'm not going to worry too much about the timing either, because we're going to have to clean that up ultimately. But that's the nice thing about just doing a totally clean tone and no actual, there's no time-based things being printed into this. So the totally dry sound of these two is this. So it'll be easy to clean up, which is great. But for the sake of fun listening, let's turn those back on. And let's add some harmonics, because I love the sound of harmonics. And yep, let's just play around. The nice thing about a big open tuning like this is you can do a lot of open strings and everything's going to be in key, which is, it's a nice writing tool. I really love open tunings. So to be honest, I didn't expect that to just work so well, but it did. So that's awesome. And so I think these are going to be my main elements just for building up to what my main guitar melody is going to be. And I don't think we'll really introduce necessarily the guitar melody in full until we get to whatever would be the breakdown of this track. But I came up with it a little bit earlier, and it's going to be a little bit tricky because it's mostly in 5/8. So we're going to have to figure out how to make it fit within 4/4. And I love polyrhythms, so this is not abnormal for me at all. So what we're going to do is just we're going to record this part. I might mess it up a little bit. It's a little bit funky, two-handed tapping, which I love. And then we're going to start cleaning all this stuff up and also seeing what kind of elements we can kind of create out of this stuff. So it's based around this idea. You need to be able to hear that. I need to be able to hear that. So it's pretty. Almost sounds kind of a little bit Celtic. So let's just give it a go. All right, that's gonna work for me. The one thing I discovered was when we're doing it, I actually don't want a dotted eighth on that, just a regular quarter note. Sounds better. But it doesn't matter. I think it probably tracked fine. So let's take a listen to that, make sure it doesn't suck. Yeah, I really like that. And let's also just get like a little gallop in there. And this one actually would be great for the dotted eighth note. Although maybe a different delay type. Maybe let's go for like a digital, so we don't lose as much high end. Here's the tape. Actually, I like the tape. Yeah, let's do that. And you can hear the noise in the background. It's fine. So it'll be basically just palm muted thing like that. And it needs to not be soloed because let's hear everything. That should be enough. So it's kind of like the U2 edge trick where you have that dotted eighth note delay filling in the gaps. Sounds so good.